We bought a studio. Well, sort of. It's our basement, but it's going to be our studio. We bought a screen printing press. It's a M&R Blue Max 2. I mean, I'm shocked we even got this monstrosity in this room, but this is gonna be awesome. I mean, compared to our one color jerry rig press, we can do up to 6 colors on a shirt. We can have multiple shirts on it. I mean, just look at this thing spin. Once this thing is up and running, we'll be churning out shirts in no time. We can have 4 shirts on it at once. We can finally do multicolor. This thing, so excited to use this once this is set up. Zoobity boo. And it's cleared out. We're going to start with the walls. As you can see, they just need a fresh coat of paint, match our brand colors. But before we do that, we need to do a little bit of paint prep, especially on the walls, do some scraping, and then we're gonna need to talk about something. Now, we're just gonna kind of go at this spot. I think this is the main spot that needs some work. There's some previous water damage, just kind of all flaking up. It's gonna be kind of gross. It's gonna be messy, but we gotta do it if we're gonna paint. This wall is gonna end up being covered up anyways, but I just kind of wanna, we're here, it's gonna be covered up, and I just wanna do it right because it might not ever get touched again. And we're here, let's just do it. Ugh, jeez. I'm hoping the whole wall isn't like this, but we're just gonna scrape off as much until it doesn't let us anymore. Especially, I'd love to get, oh jeez, look at all these chunks. I wanna get these chunky stuff. I don't know what they did here. Stuff's just falling all over the place. It's gonna be easier to paint to do this too, so that's kind of why I want to do it. Get a real nice pull right here, ready? Ooh, that's pretty good. I think we made pretty good work of that. As you can see, the giant mess we have made, but I think that's good. As I feared, there's more signs of it here in our screen printing room. So again, we're just gonna chip away. Get all of it off. I'm kind of wishing now I bought a bit more of a durable paint, let's just say. I might have tried to save some money and get a cheaper paint, but that might have been a bad idea. So I might need to go back to the store and get a stronger, more durable paint. I'm kind of hoping they just used cheap paint in here, and that's why it's shipping off. But then again, like I said, I bought cheap paint. So yeah, I don't really know what was here. Some sort of wood or cardboard or something, but it needs to come up, and I'm hoping that it comes up easy, but I'm not confident. Okay, so as you can see, we've made a huge mess, but I think we've scraped everything we need to scrape, so now we just need to clean all the walls, get rid of all the cobwebs, take everything down from the headboard, and then we can finally start painting. So obviously we don't need this Ethernet port anymore, but I don't know how it's connected and it will not come off. Aha, there are more screws. It broke my drill bit. If we can get the rest of this off, we can just unscrew it with a wrench, but it is being stubborn. Oh, thank the Lord, that was way more stubborn than it should have been. All right, we just got back from the store and we made a couple decisions. First off, we're gonna prime the walls with a high quality, durable, this stuff is apparently amazing. It's gonna seal stuff, cover things up. So this is exactly what we want. It adds another step, but it's something we just are gonna do right. And then we also got caulk gun, wire brush for continued paint removal, and then masonry crack filler. Smooth it out. Okay, we've mopped everything, and I think everything's finally clean to start painting, unless I decide to do another pass of mopping because the floor is really dirty and I want to make sure it's pristine because we are going to paint it. Initially, I didn't want to paint because I just didn't want to bother painting concrete floors, but the space is permanent, it's not moving, and I do not like this red floor, so I'm just going to take the extra steps, the extra time, and make sure the studio is how I want it to be. I didn't want to build the studio out and then hate how it looked with this red floor. So we're gonna paint it just like a concrete gray, one of our darker brain colors. And I'm super excited because I think it's gonna transform the space. We're not gonna paint the whole basement floors, but just the studio part. So it's really gonna make it feel like its own unique space that you're just gonna kind of step into. So I'm really excited about that, but it's gonna be a bit of work. All right, take your bets. How straight of a line do you think I can make this on the floor? Not a bad start, honestly. Okay, and we're gonna do the hack where you paint the tape as the original color and then paint it your new color. That way it's an ultra crisp line. So that is what we're gonna do because we want these lines to be crisp. It is time to prime. We are officially primed. It may look a little splotchy. We used every ounce of paint we could in that can. And it's just a primer, so it doesn't need to be super even. We're gonna let this dry, come back to it, and start painting real colors. Because like I said, the concrete floor is not gonna be gray, but you can kind of start to see the space. It's starting to come together and form. You can see the actual space, and it's gonna be awesome. You can start to picture it. Super excited. We went for like an off yellow white that kind of matches our brand colors. It's not gonna look like too much of a difference, but it's a color. I know we said we could be a little messy with the paint, but I still want it to be a little neat. So we're gonna tape it. Short detour, but we're ready to go again. Taping all that's just gonna help trimming the lines and everything just a little bit cleaner. It was another extra step, but glad we did it. Okay, first coat is up. It's looking good so far. We're gonna wait and let it dry, and then we're gonna hit it with a second coat, but I think we're only gonna do it in targeted areas, like mainly our screen printing room here, because these walls will be exposed, whereas in the workspace room, most of them are gonna be covered up. So we're gonna do a second coat starting here, see how far we get, and then we're gonna paint the floors. Painted in vertical lines last time, so this coat I'm doing horizontal. Try and get all the random divots and nooks that way. We are going to scrape out every single ounce of paint we can. I wish we had a little bit more, but it is what it is. Part of me is really tempted to get a second gallon, but I really only need maybe like a quart more of paint. So I think we're gonna let this coat dry, see how it looks, but tentatively we're just gonna call it good after this coat. All right, we're done with the roller. We're gonna get everything else we can out of this can, touch up some details. I really think though, I'm gonna want another coat, which means another gallon of paint, and it puts us behind, but I think it's what we have to do, unfortunately, if we want to do this right, which has been the theme of the whole thing. All right, I think we're done for the day. I think we got the most done that we can, literally out of paint. Not as far as I wanted to get today. I thought the paint would have a bit more coverage than it did. That seems to be the theme, so maybe this room, this area just has more square footage than I think. It's still drying, but looking at it right now, I can still already tell I think I'm gonna want a third coat, because when am I gonna be able to move everything again and paint it? So there might be even more painting. We're back with hopefully our last can of paint. Either I'm just really bad at painting, or the cinder blocks is just soaking up a lot of paint. I think I'm leaning towards I'm just not a great painter. So we're gonna do one final coat, and this one's gonna be it. And I'm gonna just lay on a ton of paint, a super thick layer of paint, and then hopefully we can paint the floors today. This has been a longer project than I was hoping, but that's how projects go. coat is dry. I still feel like there's some spots that just aren't taking paint. I don't know why, but we're just gonna call it good as it is. I think overall, that last coat definitely helped. But overall, there's a coat of primer and 3 coats of paint, so I just think some spots just aren't gonna take the paint, which is fine because a lot of it's gonna be covered, and everything in here looks nice and fresh and new, and we can finally get started on the concrete floor paint. But first we have to satisfyingly take up all the tape. Do you think we can do this all in one strand? Do you think? Ooh, close. Can we do it? Can we do it? Nice. This is definitely, this tape is taking up some paint, including the red paint, and another layer. So this paint's taken up 2 layers of paint, which makes me a little concerned about the durability of the paint we're about to put down. But it is what it is, we're gonna see. All right, tape is off. Now to put tape back on the walls. Well, green on the tape. So we're just gonna freehand cut everything in with our floor concrete paint and hope it's semi-good. The tape wasn't sticking anyway, so it is what it is. We went with kind of like a off gray, a little warm toned, again to match our brain colors, and I'm very excited to actually start cutting in with actual paint color that's gonna look different. So this is kind of the dark, kind of concrete gray, maybe a little darker, a little warm tone that we're going with, and I'm actually very excited. Oh yeah, that's gonna look so good. I don't think you guys can see that. Look at that. You can see the start of an actual concrete floor. We're good. It's fine, it's gonna be covered up with plywood anyways. The floor is cut in. I've realized I'm terrible at cutting paint, and I just have to live with that fact. What I ended up doing is painting a little bit of a lip onto the wall with the gray, which I actually think turned out halfway decent, but there's probably some spots we need to clean up. It's not gonna be the crispest line, but the benefit is most of these walls are gonna be covered, so it's gonna be okay. We're gonna wait for this to dry, and then start rolling and hope it only needs 1 coat, AKA only 1 gallon of paint. And finally, we roll. I already know it's gonna be so satisfying. Oh, yes. Look at that. I can already tell how much better it's gonna look in here with the painted floors. This looks incredible. I can't believe how much a simple color change and coat of paint completely transformed this area. We didn't quite use the gallon, so I think we'll let this coat dry, finish it up. We won't have enough for a full second coat, but I don't think we'll need it the way it's looking. We'll just be able to go in and touch up a few spots, clean up the edges, and then do one final cleanup with white wall paint. to get rid of the splashes, anything like that. But like, it's feeling like a real space now, and I'm blown away by the transformation of the space. We went to IKEA. So we're gonna build out some of those items and kind of get a little bit of the vibe and decor set up down here. So that's very exciting. But first, we do need to touch up a couple areas, a couple mist paints, a couple touch up areas with some paint. And to do that, I need to change into my grubs. That feels better. All right, let's get started. We need a new brush. Look at that. Maybe we can break her down. I don't know. But that is dry. We thrifted this chair forever ago. I don't know if I love it here, but it does kind of tie in the orange to this cool rug from IKEA that I just fell in love with and knew I wanted in here. So we're gonna do another side table and another chair, and this will be kind of a hangout, sketch, chill, work on stuff, kind of vibey area over here. I have wanted this table from IKEA, the Bag Boda, ever since it came out. It's the vintage, from their like vintage archive collection, and ever since it came out, I'm like, I need to find an excuse to buy it, and I bought it, of course, in the bright yellow. So let's assemble. Whoa, that is yellow. But I think it's actually gonna work really well in this space. People are always giving crap to IKEA, and I understand it for the most part, but all furniture now is shipped online, and it's flat packed, and you have to assemble it yourself. Are the directions a little confusing? Are some things a little confusing sometimes? Yeah, but it's a good price, and they have some cool stuff right now. I'm saying this all before I actually assemble anything, but I'm assuming this is going to be pretty easy to assemble. I'm like in love with like the chrome furniture look right now. Like anything that's chrome, I'm obsessed with it. Okay, what are we doing first here? Okay, we need the little poles. 2 of these. You guys like my necklace? Big hole. Big hole. We need the ones with the big holes. My biggest beef with IKEA instructions is like, you can just add a little bit of text, like a little quick text explanation, and I wouldn't be confused. Because sometimes these images just don't make sense. You just need a little caption. That's all you need. So like this, like this. Oh, we're upside down. Through here, right? Or am I backwards? Where's my, there it is. Do you ever expect that a local random Battle Creek, Michigan streetwear company would be filming a YouTube video and you're watching him build IKEA furniture? Probably not, but glad you're here. One done. Screw goes to the side, right? Am I dumb? Oh yeah, there we go. I already did one wrong. Unscrew this one. They both have big holes, but this has big holes on the wrong side. So forgive me if I was a little confused. This one, okay, here we go. Back on track. It's really just the direction where like these holes need to line up that's really confusing. I don't know if I love everything together, like this chair, this table, this rug, but we'll kind of mix things up, figure things out more as we get things built out. Oh, and a lamp to go here, vibe it out, add some logo inspiration books, photo books, knickknacks, other fun little things like that. Just vibe it out, make it fun. We found the little chipboard things for the shelving unit. So we finished putting that together, put all our inventory on except for one big box. We'll see if I keep this here. It doesn't fit things perfectly. As you can probably see, it's like just quite not wide enough. It's already way better than what it used to be. So I'm not complaining at all. It's way easier to see everything, pull out some orders, pack everything up for pop-ups, things like that. So very excited about this setup for now. Now next, if you remember what we're doing right here, the electrical panel, all these piping and stuff, is the curtain, our backdrop. That's gonna kind of cover it up. What we're also gonna do is add a couple of these IKEA Hillis shelves. It's the short one. It's literally 20 bucks. So cheap. We bought 3 of them and we're gonna use them to store all of our film cameras. So we'll have a nice storage spot for those. So let's build those. But before we do that, we do need to take all of this tape off. And it's always nerve-wracking doing this. Just a moment of truth. Ooh, not clean edges. This is a good thing that this will be covered by a curtain and no one's ever gonna really see it because this line looks terrible. All right, let's build some shelves. All right, 1. Sweet. That's a good start. We'll make it look pretty later once we have everything unpacked, but I think that's a good start and it's nice to have things unpacked and it's starting to feel like a real space now and I'm very excited. Hopefully this fits right here. If it doesn't, there's really not much of a backup plan. Wow, that's actually gonna fit perfect. Oh, okay. So this desk was something that I had come up with and designed, gosh, probably like 10 years ago at this point. And it was basically to use this nice plank woods, I don't even remember where they were from, with these like side compartment drawers, which at the time when I want to say I designed this in like middle school. What these little side storage trays turned into was just junk drawers, as you can see. And the long-term goal is not to use this desk in the workspace, but until we can cut plywood, this is what we're gonna have to deal with for now. I would like to find a use for this desk somehow, and at worst case, if I can't, at least steal this wood off and find a use for it, because it's like really cool, fun looking wood with a lot of character, old growth wood. In the meantime, it's gonna be a temporary desk so we can actually start editing some videos, scanning some film, getting some stuff done. So let's get our computer and everything set up. Aha, you are working now. Why is this so wobbly? I don't like how wobbly this desk is, but it kind of is what it is. I can't tell you how nice it is to have, even if it's permanent, a like actual spot to work. Even in our apartment, like I had this desk, but it was just always filled with junk or heat press because we were using it to make shirts. So to finally have a space to just have a computer, sit down, work, get stuff done, I'm super excited. It's very nice. Okay, big lights off. It's a little dark, you probably can't even see me. And we're gonna get more, but we got the lava lamp over here, the IKEA, whatever it was, lamp over here. We get a couple more, some soft lighting, get some like lo-fi chill music going. It's just gonna be a peaceful zen work zone where we can just focus, lock in, get stuff done. I am beyond excited. It is finally time to get this press finally set up and do a couple random test prints on it. We got this press off of Facebook Marketplace for 350 bucks. It's a super solid, sturdy press. It's going to be our go-to for a while. No idea how it works, but we got to assemble the frame holders, the platens, And then we're just gonna get a couple old screens, some raggy shirts, and just see what it's like, get some test prints on, maybe try a couple multicolor. I'm just so excited. So excited right now. These are the frame holders, and I at least know how these attach. So that's good. Anything else? No idea. Am I doing this right? This is an old press with like no manuals on it. But it's a good quality still. It's just kind of older, so it's not like a new... There's no instruction manuals, so we're gonna figure it out. We're getting somewhere. Now the trickiest part that I've had, because I tried this once already, is how to attach these platens. Because when I tried it, it didn't seem like the most sane system. There's just kind of these bolts down here. Let's see then. It's like putting IKEA furniture together. People are always giving crap to IKEA. They just don't give you... That's better. Tighten these bolts down and we're gonna be good to go. We're just gonna put 2 on. We're gonna even see if we can even fit a second one. I'm gonna guess that the answer is no, but I could be wrong. Okay, we got it. Look how close this is to the wall though. Ooh. I don't know if we can live with that for forever. All right, let's take you for a ride. Want to go the other way? So, yeah, one of the platens made a mark on the wall. If you can see that. So I don't know if this room is gonna work out that well. But nonetheless, let's change into some grubby clothes and get some shirts on this thing. Okay, we've got a couple different screens we're gonna throw on here. You might recognize these screens. That's Dusty. They've just been kind of sitting around. I just haven't brought myself to get rid of the screen, but it's literally got ink sitting in it. It's not gonna print well. None of these shirts are gonna print well. It's just a base test to get printing again, just to try out this press. So it's not gonna be the world's best print. This episode is gonna be a lot of boring adjustments to things, but it's just how things gotta be. It's all part of the process of learning how this machine works. I know it's gonna take a while for us to get the hang of this thing, but practice makes perfect. Okay, that feels so nice. This press does not have micro registrations, which is something that's like kind of sad. Just means some more accurate things are going to be a little, not that they can't be done, they're just going to be a little more annoying because we do want to do some CMYK stuff that takes some precision work. See, this is too tight right here. 2 screens, 2 platens. We're just gonna do a couple base, gritty, 2 color, 2 station work. Does this screen not even fit? Oh Lord. The screen's too thin. It won't, these won't go down far enough. Gosh dang it. I mean, I'm not gonna be too upset. Like, the first screen was an actually good screen. These are just crappy Amazon screens. I was hoping for some shims. These are a little thick, but it should work enough for now. Yeah, okay. We'll do for now until we get new screens. These are just some like sample shirts we grabbed, and now they're gonna turn into test shirts. These platens definitely need to be cleaned. These aren't going to be centered. They're going to be crooked. It is what it is. We're just here to practice. And we spin, hit the wall over there, great, and load up another shirt. It's already so much nicer to have the shirts hanging and not on a desk. That is like one of the underrated things I'm excited about. All right, let's get some ink on here. This is all just random leftover ink. Like, it's been sitting for a while. We're using Plastisol right now. That might change, but this is like excess mixed inks, leftover inks we've been saving for literally exactly this purpose. This is just going to be the most jankest thing you've ever seen. All right, the first print on our new press. You can't see it, but there is something there. Let's throw it on this shirt. Okay, see what's nice about that is we lifted up the screen, put it back down, and nothing moved, which is incredible. So let's flash it and do that second screen and color. Only thing I kind of don't like about this press is it like doesn't stay down. You're gonna have to hold it down. Looky there, actually, that's a pretty decent little print right there. All right, we're gonna skirt over here and do the same thing we just did. That is not bad for a first little test print on the press. Obviously, there's no real design. Colors are terrible. Design's terrible, overlapping, whatever. This press is gonna be awesome, and I'm so excited to get a flow and a rhythm down. Look at this one too. I mean, you can't see the first design, but that's pretty freaking sweet. One print in, and we already got ink on thing. All right, well, I think we're done for now, but that was such a success. Even if the prints obviously didn't turn out, they're just leftover screens and inks. We'll dial some things in, but man, I'm just so excited to just get some music going. The design's all pressed in and just swing, press. Our productivity is gonna go up. Our ratio of trashed shirts is gonna go down. We're gonna have, more, our success rate. Our success rate's gonna go up. It's gonna be incredible, and I'm so excited. We had a bunch of snow melt very fast, and we came downstairs and there was water on the floor all over here. We're still figuring out where exactly it's coming from. Luckily, it didn't hit our computer, any of our equipment. The only casualty was a couple rolls of films that were sitting on the floor, which shouldn't have been on the floor in the first place. They sat in the water for a little bit, and it's semi-ruined. Good news is they were scanned already. Bad news is we are completely throwing out our whole entire plan for the studio. Maybe not completely, but there's going to be a lot of changes. The first big change we're going to make to our studio is we're going to tear down this wall. So the first thing we do before we tear down this wall is we're going to move our press out into that room, move our desk and computer setups into this room, because that's kind of the final setup it's going to look like. We're just going to do a quick, simple switcheroo. And unfortunately, once again, we moved the press. This press, never leaving this room again. There's just no good way to do this. If you ever buy one of these presses, just get a friend. Three, two, one. Okay, let's make sure this is actually where we want it. So that's great. That's fine. Got it. All right, there we go. Spin, spin, spin. So this room that was once a screen printing room is going to transform into our workspace. Now, if you remember in the first or second video we did, we kind of explained our first original ideas of a U shape. And we're actually going to turn back to that idea. So this is our temporary desk setup, but it's going to roughly be starting about here, going to this wall, and then another all along this wall, and then back in a U shape all the way across this wall. Again, this wall's going to come out. So we're going to go back to the island idea, which is going to be right here. It's going to be a little wider, probably about 4 feet, again, for tie-dyeing, all that stuff, a little bit of a wider work area. And I think this orientation is actually going to give us a little bit of more workspace and work area. Again, we're going to keep the idea of plywood walls, and it's going to extend along this side wall and this back wall. So it's going to be a little bit more wood, but in the grand scheme of things, it's going to be worth it, and it's going to look sweet in here. Not only that, but the power situation is way better in here. Out there, we were going to have to jerry-rig, either run new electrical boxes or just power cords and extension cords, neither of which was a great option. There's an outlet here and another one on the other wall. Power is not going to be an issue now, and that is a huge blessing. And then back out here into what was going to be our workspace is going to turn into screen printing area. I still feel like it's honestly just a tiny bit small, but it's not going to be an underworld. So right here is going to be our main screen printing spot. We're going to be slinging stuff here. There's going to be an island right here. So there's going to be storage shelves underneath, a work area, and it's going to be a little convenient to have screen printing supplies there, easily accessible. So that workflow is kind of nice. Here, we've got this whole wall open, and I think we're going to put the pegboard here. We're going to try and salvage it from this wall. You might have some left over, and build something out, throw it on here. There's some water issues here. As you can see, this stuff is coming back, even though we primed, painted 2 times. Separate issue that's not related to New Union Market. Not a concern, not worried, but I didn't really want to put workbenches here, computers here, that could potentially get ruined or damaged if there was a catastrophic event. So here's a little bit of evidence of that water damage, a little bit more over here. Just things we didn't want to put wood on the floor and have be an issue. Also, this is all spots from where our desk chair was. So that's another problem we're going to have to figure out. Another reason we're moving this wall, this drywall, it's not really there. Sagging, coming off, and we were trying to avoid tearing it down, but we're just going to have to knock it out. I really do think that knocking down this wall, in the grand scheme of things, is going to be a positive move. It's going to make the whole space feel way more open. I know it feels cramped right now, just with the press right here, the wall right here. But once this is knocked out, it's going to feel really open, and it's going to be way more accessible to grab the things we need quickly, instead of having to walk in and out of this room, through that door, walk back out, all that stuff. A lot more work, but we get to tear down a wall, and that's going to be fun. We're also just going to get a lot of more light in here, which is going to be really nice. We get a lot of nice light, even from this small little glass block window, and opening this up is going to flow all that light into there. So just another bonus. Now, the main issue out here is this little gremlin. Most of the reason we had the press in the other room was so this guy would not get into inks and stuff. So we're going to have to figure out a solution for that. This setup really does give us way more space to walk around. I mean, we can practically jog around this thing. Even here, it's a little tight, but really even not that bad. In fact, I'm probably going to throw some more shirts on the press and just sling some more shirts because it's just fun. Half the reason I do plastisol is to just leave screens out with inks and stuff, which, like I said, I don't want to do. So we'll have to figure out a solution for that. I'm almost thinking just a canvas cover to put over them temporarily, just a garbage bag. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of an update. Our plan moving forward. I know this negates a lot of the work we did in past weeks. Trust me, I'm not happy about it either. But this decision is snowballing a lot of other decisions that are gonna be a huge net positive. And the first step is gonna be trying to get rid of this pegboard and try and salvage as much of it as we can, because we are gonna try and reuse it elsewhere, considering this wall will be gone shortly. So let's clear this off. I'm really hoping we can just easily pry it off without damaging it. I think it's just a couple nails that we might have to chisel out. Something just dropped. Part of the problem is when I painted this, I definitely painted over some nails. So there's kind of a couple layers that we're gonna have to get at. And I really probably should have bought a chisel. So we're just gonna have to make do with what we can. There's one nail. I guess technically this end of a hammer is kind of like a chisel. And it's gonna do for now. See if that did anything. Oh yeah. All right, we're in business. Oh, it's falling. There it goes. Okay. We were not well prepared for that. We chipped the corner. Debating if it's even worth trying to salvage this. We'll try. I do, however, want to try and salvage as much of this little board, 1x4s, I guess, not even on here, because there are just random things we'll use this for, and it'll be kind of nice to try and save. You can never have too many scrap pieces of wood. I really wish I had a chisel. Not that this isn't working, but, oh, that's a long screw. It would be a lot easier with a chisel. I said we're gonna try and save this. I also don't feel like being overly careful, if I'm being honest. Like I said, I tried. That was making me freaking mad. They nailed these in with like 5-inch screws or nails. I feel like that's excessive. Maybe not, I guess it's holding pegboard, just holding stuff, I don't know. It's just wood, we can buy more. Not only are these nails deep, I think they're just old. I can't get a grip on them with a hammer. I don't understand. I love how we said we're gonna salvage this wood, but it's pissing me off. That nail came out though. We might be able to salvage something, but man. Is salvaging a couple pieces of scrap wood worth an extra hour of work? I don't know. Not in my opinion. I just hammered through the wall. Well, we salvaged this piece at least. Kinda, sort of. We can use it for something. I found trying to get the nail out is impossible. So you just go at the whole piece of wood and hope it all comes out together. And that's working decently so far. Yeah, all right. That strategy's working a little better. All right, 2 for 3. There we go. This one is so close to the cinder block wall. Oh, never mind. I came out really easy. And then same thing on this side. Might be able to just pull it off if I'm real lucky. Okay. See? Ooh. Almost there. Okay. Got it. Smash that other corner again. That is a green wall. Now, I'm actually pretty confident if we just go at this with a rubber mallet, it's just gonna come out. Or not. That's loud. It's down here in the bottom. No, really? I thought this was gonna come out really easy. It kinda is. There we go. Hi. There definitely might be a better way of doing this, but this is working so far. So it is what it is. We got shoes, we got gloves, okay? So quit typing your comment right now. So it's interesting tearing down this wall because we can definitely tell there's a slight water damage. But before we start tearing this down, let's clean this up. Hindsight would have been to paint the floor after, but we didn't have the gift of hindsight. This is a last minute thing because this is making a mess, like an absolute mess. This is just one wall. Like how do demo renovators do this? Like people say they love demo day. Yeah, it's fun to kick down a wall until you have to clean up the mess. It's a new day. We're all cleaned up until we continue the demo. But before I turn on all the other lights and we get to work, just look at this. I don't know if you can see me because all the lights are off, but just the amount of natural light that's just kind of expanded and flowing throughout this whole space now. It's incredible, and I'm so excited to finish tearing down this wall, so let's go. Now, the first step is figuring out how this wall is even attached. I literally just think each one of these beams is held in by a single nail, which is crazy, honestly. So I guess we'll just pull those nails out and see if it comes down. Man, I cannot get a grip on these nails. Half of it is just getting the paint off of these. So we should be able to take out the rest of these beams and boards up here and literally just pull the wall down. Nope, that's not what we wanted. There we go. Yeah, see now, that's literally all that was holding it in. Now we are gonna try and save as many of these 2x4s as possible because I think we're gonna turn it into like a screen printing drying rack. And when I say come out easy, it never actually does because there's some conduit of the electrical variety that is in the way. I think if we can just get it unstapled, should be able to get enough slack to get it out of the way here. All right, now we can route that up and over. Sweet. Now, I do want to try and keep this board here because it is holding up some plywall or drywall that's plywall. Some drywall that's going up the stairs. So we're gonna have to figure out how to take this down without taking this down, which this would all be easier if we just decided to take out this door first. And of course the bottom screws are being stubborn. Okay, that door's being dumb. So I think we're just gonna start here. Look at that. Whole thing's falling off. There we go. Oh yeah. We're gonna run into some clearance issues here though. Look, I just moved a wall. Look at that. 30 minutes later, 2 strip screws, 1 broken bolt, and I think we can finally get this door off. Yeah. Yeah. I left the bracket on down here. It won't come off this wall, so that's great. Can't get a good angle at this. Okay, found the issue. There's nails right here, which I should have thought about, that are holding this wall in. We're really gonna have to do some guess work here to try and figure out. Hey, we got the nail though. First try. It's really sunk in there though, so it's gonna be tricky to get out. Way it's that easy. Shoot. Cool. Might just have to shimmy and jam this thing. Did I get it out? Hey, I at least got it out of there. Not in the most proper way, I'm sure, but it's out of there. Gotta figure out how these boards are attached too. I'm not really sure. Cause this is under the stairway. I doubt it's nailed. I don't think it's nailed from the other side of this. So, I really don't know where to get this board off of. I just can't tell what's going on here. We might have to go in the crawl space. It should be right here. I'm not seeing any nail sole on this side, which that is helpful for our case. Let's never go back in here. We might be able to just pry this off, because this will at least tell us if there's any resistance, that there's something going on somewhere. I'm all confused. So we're trying to leave this board on, right? I forgot, we're trying to leave this board on. So we're gonna have to rethink some things so that we can keep this board up on the wall. So this might be a little tricky. We're just gonna crack off that wood. We don't really need that short piece. Now I think the only thing holding this wall in is this board up here that was cut out. So I think if we just jigsaw this board up here, she should just fall right down. This is our first time using a jigsaw ever, and this is a vintage one. But it should work, as long as we don't hit a nail. That's good. I know this isn't what I need for this, but this is literally the only saw we have. It's coming up from over here, I think. Don't do what I do, okay? Let's just be clear. Cool. That won't fit either. You know what? We're trapped. Cool, so we basically just have to get all these boards apart and pull all the nails out. I'm sure that'll be so easy. We also might try and take this wood and make it into a little screen, storage rack, but we'll see if we have time to do that this week. So let's get started separating all these boards. It might be a little hard to see just on video, but even with the board still kind of laying everywhere, it really opens up this whole space way more than it used to, and I'm so excited about that. I'm trying to figure out the best way to take these boards apart that's not gonna fall everywhere. Maybe I'm being naive. Might need to take this base molding off first. It's like really hard to figure out how any of these boards are connected together. I'm like fighting the urge to just tear these boards apart, but I am trying to save them as much as possible. Oops. Oh, jeez. This wood down here at the bottom is definitely rotted, which gives you a little hint as to why we tore down this wall. Oh, that board's free. There we go, we're getting somewhere now. We kind of just needed one board to come free, and the rest of them will kind of slot out, kind of like a puzzle. Still a lot of nails to get out though. That's splitting wood, but what can you do? There we go. Yeah, we split this end, we might be able to get something out of it, we'll see. But again, now that like that end's out, you can probably just pull this end out. So it's just in with one nail. Two. No. Yeah, like that. There we go. They nailed this boards over these nails. That's so annoying. Some of these nails are like so sunk deep into these boards, it's like kind of hard to get them out without just snapping them off. Like that. Probably the same thing with this one. See, this right here is a screw. Everything else is nails. Like, why would you do that? Sounds so bad. All right, first board done. So this board was on the floor, and as you can see, it's a little rotted out, which is that's why we did all this and took all this wall out, because we knew there was a little bit of damage. So it's always satisfying knowing you go to a bunch of extra work to do something, and it was worth it. There's a reason for it. Okay, boards are done, nails are out. We're going to clean up all the nails on the floor, sweep up, clean up. But first we're going to clean up the walls because it's going to go on the floors anyways. And there's just a little bit of prep work that we're going to need to do, because obviously we're going to need to paint this little bit of wall and this little bit of floor. We're going to need to clean and patch this edge too, going up to the stairs, and because we'll probably want to end up painting this bit of plywood. Not plywood. We'll probably want to paint this 2x4 too, so gotta get all these nails out too. I mean, not that we want nails sticking out of here anyways, so. I can't tell if this 2x4 is like, it's not structural, but I don't want to take it out if there's not drywall behind it, aka ruin that drywall. So the goal is to keep it where it's at, but there's some things in front of it that's going to make it difficult. And this board's underneath it, down here. We might actually have to take it out. There we go. I just can't figure out how this board's attached to take it off. That's kind of the issue. Well, this board's just gonna come off, and we're just gonna figure it out. Can't really patch this piece of drywall, so that's whoopsies. Kind of wanted this drywall there, so yeah, we might just have to replace this board of plywood, but it's not the end of the world. Cool, so we'll just clean up this junk and get ready to paint. Oh my gosh. That was a complete failure. then we do have a couple holes in the concrete to fill, maybe clean up some of these edges, because we are gonna obviously need to paint this strip. This is working better than the wire brush, but it's still going to be hard to not see a difference or have a obvious gap in the floor, but we're going to do the best we can and try and make it as least noticeable as possible. The good news is most of this is probably going to be covered by a workbench, so not a huge deal. I feel like there's something in there still. Yep, perfect. Should probably be filling these with something other than masonry caulk filler. But it's what we got. Oh, that actually looks like a perfect line. If we just feather out back here. Nice. As I say as I go and screw it up more. I shouldn't have touched it. There's still a couple gaps that I'm trying to avoid. Ooh, nailed it on the first try. Not want any chances for water to get through here. How straight of a line do you think we can get with this? Oh my gosh. What am I thinking? Flimsy little thing. I think we should have enough leftover white paint to fill this gap and get done what we need to get done. Hopefully. Assuming it doesn't need multiple coats, which it honestly might not. It might be okay. I have a feeling there's definitely going to be an obvious gap here, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world, and pretty sure our plywood wall is going to extend on here, so it'll get covered up anyways. Also, a couple spots on the floor where we spilled Plastisol ink that I'm really hoping with some press wash is going to come up. Otherwise, we'll just have to paint over it. A little bit. That might work. It's probably fine to paint over this. I just really don't feel like dealing with if paint decides to not play well with Plastisol ink. And it looks like it's really not damaging the paint, which is honestly shocking. I don't know if we're going to get every ounce of it off, but I really wanted to try and get as much of a chunk off as I can. You know what? That's good enough. This is not going to be the last time we spill ink on these floors, so we're going to need to come up with a solution that's going to make them easy to clean. That's not going to take off the paint. We're honestly just going to paint over this, and it's going to be fine. I don't feel like messing with cleaning this area up that much. Alright, we did a second coat. Now it is time to once again paint the floors. Unfortunately, we did have to get a whole brand new gallon of paint because we ran out. So there's another $40. Honestly though, it kind of worked out because right now there's a lot of spots we need to patch up. And I know there's going to be spots in the future that we're going to need to patch up, which does make me a little worried that this floor, aka paint, is going to be a little hard to clean. So we will have some extra paint to touch up spots in the future, but I would like to avoid having to do that, if that makes sense. Like especially right here where our chair was, that is gonna need some touch-ups. The spots where we spilled screen printing ink. And it honestly happened so fast, which is why I'm worried. But that being said, we're just gonna do a general swath of kind of everywhere, get a good coverage of everything, and get everything a little bit of an extra coat, especially the areas we already talked about. Okay, we honestly probably covered about 60-70% of the space. There's probably going to be a couple spots that need touch-ups, especially the spots that we haven't painted at all yet. And honestly, this concrete floor only got one coat of paint, right? Yeah. So really considering that we have to throw down a second coat is not that bad. I'm just hoping this isn't going to be a recurring thing, because like a month or two after painting, and it's already got a lot of scuffs, scratches, stains. Not stains, we spilled ink. We're just gonna have to get better about trying not to spill ink and stuff, because it seems to be really hard to clean up. And maybe this is something where we just do a yearly freshen up, touch up. I'd love for that not to be the case, because that's a lot of extra work. Not that it's a lot of extra work, it maybe took me 20 minutes to do a rough touch up paint. But we'll let this dry, see how it is. Either way, we're probably done with this week's video. You don't need to see the rest. We're going to hang up a backdrop to cover all of this electrical panels and pipes, and it'll also serve as a photo backdrop for product photos. Now, the idea originally was to throw up the curtain rod ceilings at the joists, but they're honestly not in good increments at the spot to cover up everything. It's going to leave some gaps. And I think we're going to run into some obstacles that are going to kind of mess with us. We've got the whole thing assembled. So let's say we're going to need as much distance as possible. Now that we might have enough length, but we are kind of running into some pipes. Okay, I think we can route it just above the pipes. Maybe. But see, now the issue is this is connecting to no joist. It's just hanging there. So that's what I mean about the increments between the joists. We're going to have to put this in here. We can kind of bend it. I don't know if I love that idea, but it is an idea. Cool. I think it's sturdy enough. Now, there's definitely going to be a gap on this wall where the ceiling post is, but it's going to have to be what it is. The key here is getting it to line up. I don't know if that's going to screw in, but we're going to see. Now that we have this in, I literally don't know if I can thread this through. It almost needs to be lower like this. Oh wait, actually, I think I can get it. Oh my gosh. Barely get it. It's literally by like half an inch, not the right. Like the problem is it's got like 2 inches right here. If it didn't have that, I could just shove it right up above everything, but that like 2-3 inches is hitting right at where all the pipes are. We might be okay. So I am going to now throw up the backdrop we brought. It's supposed to be for like high school senior photos and like that kind of thing. But I think it's kind of sweet. It's going to fit our vibe. It's going to make this corner not look gross and dingy. You probably can't see it in this light, but it's kind of like a blue tie-dye kind of thing, which it fits our brain colors, fits our vibe. It's going to be sweet. See, just like that. Oh my gosh. Looks so much better. I'm going to try and cut around this pipe and extend it to the end. Actually, I don't think it's wide enough. So now kind of the question is, do I want to cover the electrical panel or this piping over here? I guess we can move the curtain around, but let us know in the comments, should we cover the electrical panel or should we cover this piping over here? What should we do? I actually kind of do hate that it doesn't cover up these pipes. I don't know how I feel about that, but it does do a decent job of covering up most of this space and it looks kind of sweet. We do have to figure out a couple things though. So it does kind of cover up all of our camera shelving that we built and set up, which I'm kind of sad about because I liked what it looks. Even though that was the original plan, I don't want to move out in front because that's going to look weird. Actually, you know what? Let's just throw it behind and try it. Sorry, lava lamp. That roughly covers it up. I kind of hate that. I'll just be honest. It balloons weird. Honestly, maybe we could kind of like crimp it back this way, like that. That's better, but I still don't know if I love that. So I think we're just gonna have to cover up all our cameras, which is kind of sad. Maybe if we pull them out a little bit. That's not bad, actually. It just leaves a weird gap back here. But we could always stuff stuff back there and add it as more storage. It just makes it tight right here. I don't know. We're just gonna have to figure all this stuff out. For now, I do think I'm gonna move everything and set everything up like that. Because I want to see all our cameras and easily grab them, you know? Okay, I'm actually not really that upset at that. I think that looks okay. It's probably gonna look better without this here though. Oh yeah, way better. Yeah, I think that works. I don't think it's too awkwardly cramped right here either. I still do hate that these pipes are exposed, but I don't know, we'll figure something out. You know, you put a chair here, it's gonna be kind of nice. Okay, so I did actually move the mounting point of the curtain rod a little bit over as far as I could. I bent it a little bit, so now it's kind of at an angle to kind of help cover this up, get this closer. I still kind of hate that you can see all this, but you can really only see it when you're from this angle. I could even add a hook there or something to kind of make it a little less noticeable. But overall, I'm pretty happy. Now, we do have a decent amount of fabric here that we're going to need to trim so it doesn't bunch up on the floor weird. Kind of hoping we can just rip this. Yes, perfect. Beautiful. Now that lays perfect. And I think this leftover fabric might be just, oh my gosh, it's almost perfect. To a little extension, we might even sew it over probably, so it can mount on the curtain rod, and I might even staple it so it goes all the way to the end. Or something like that. Sweet. That worked out really well, actually. We're even going to throw a couple lights, mount these to the ceiling so they're out of the way, and we can just permanently have some lights ready to turn on with just a tap of a button. That way we can just easily, quickly take some product photos. Ew. Hey, smudging the ones. We've got a couple lighting mounts. We're going to mount them to the joist right here, and then they'll be out of the way, and it's going to be great. Cool. So now I should be able to just throw this on there. And now we can have rotating adjustable lights, throw them at our screen printing press, throw them at our backdrop, wherever we need them depending on what we're doing, which is going to be so convenient. If you've wondered why some of our videos have been nicely lit, we have started using these and it's way better than the crappy overhead incandescent lights, to say the least. We're going to have to cable manage this a little bit, but just like that, we have light. We're going to throw these on some smart outlets too. Why did they do it like that? Oh my gosh. The electrical in this house is so dumb. But we are going to throw it on some smart outlets so we can just flick it on easily. Not have to climb up and turn it on and all that. So that's going to be super convenient. I'm going to throw another one up above our screen printing press. That way we can have nice, even lighting when we're screen printing, and obviously for content as well. I'm mounting this one on the side of the joist so it's not really in the way of our press and our screens, things like that. It is a little low if it's just kind of hanging there, so this is going to look a little neater. And then this one might look kind of weird. We're going to position it like this so it's kind of even over the top lighting. We don't have to deal with any shadows. If we threw it behind us or something, we're gonna get shadows. This way it's top down, we can get a nice even, but looking light, but that still looks good, you know? Now this one is going to require a little more extensive PowerEdge routing, but luckily we bought cable clips. We actually might get so lucky right now. We might not need an extension cord, which we bought. So this light, it's gonna shine right here, right on our screen printing area. And you can see there's just nice even light for us when we need some accurate screen printing. There's no shadows behind us. We can print. It's gonna be great. When we threw our lava lamps on SmartFlux 2, this whole studio is gonna be, with the touch of a button, it's gonna all turn on once everything's set up. It's gonna be sweet, but for now, we have light, beautiful light, not ugly overhead lighting. So now all our future videos are going to look incredible. Our screen printing videos are gonna look amazing. It just feels nice to have everything automated, hung up, nice lighting, not ugly incandescents. We are taking these old scrap 2x4s and turning them into a screen printing storage and drying rack. We've already got our measurements already, so let's get this stuff moved outside and let's start cutting. Okay, we should have more than enough wood right here. This is all leftover wood from when we tore down our wall. The goal of this screen printing rack, it's gonna be super budget friendly. It's not gonna really cost us anything besides a couple of screws, maybe some paint. It's gonna be the classic mantra, scrappy, but not crappy. So we're just gonna make basically a simplified wooden box. It probably isn't gonna look like the prettiest thing, but it's gonna be functional and it's gonna be next to nothing cost-wise. So like I said, we already have all our measurements. So let's just measure out what we're gonna need, starting with the longest board first. It is going to be 54 inches tall. 54 inches right there. We did actually have to buy a saw because we literally have like no power tools. So I know this probably isn't the highest quality one, but it was on sale and it's gonna be good enough to do what we need it to do. I'm gonna actually make kind of a little shelf here since we don't have a workbench, but we're gonna find a way around it here. All right, let's just go right for it here. Cool, that was easy enough. Now we can use this board as our guide for the rest of the 4 that we need of these. All right, let's see if these boards pieces are even. Close enough. These boards are definitely slightly warped, so hopefully that's not an issue soon. Last one. We've got our 4 height boards. They're close enough to being the same size. The sawdust is gonna make me sneeze. So these are gonna sit like this. We'll get more boards over this, make a cube, essentially. Then the next boards just need to be 24.5. Just 4 more cuts. These ones are 26 inches. We've still even got a couple extra boards too, which is a huge bonus. Okay, we brought all the pieces inside and we'll assemble it here just so we don't have to worry about fitting it down the stairs, through the door, things like that. Should come together pretty simple. We're gonna build the front box first. Also, screws are expensive. I feel like screws should be kind of cheap. They're not. Okay, so you can kind of see the rough box that's gonna form. This is definitely going to be a good test to see how good our construction skills are because our experience is about 0. So this will be a nice little test before we delve into some big giant workspace benches. Like that's not how you're supposed to drill a screw in, but it worked, I guess. I don't know if it's me or the drill that kind of sucks. I'm not getting any drive on this thing. I mean, it'll work, I guess, but it's annoying. I already know this is gonna be so jank. Oh, it might not be too bad actually. Hold up, it's a little jank, but this is the basic idea of the thing. So if I did this right, that's really wide. Why is that so wide? I did it wrong. I was supposed to put these 2x4s on top of these. I mean, we could put them in like this. Originally, we were gonna put them in like this. Obviously, that's not gonna work. As long as we might have to recut some pieces, but we should be able to salvage this, I think. Hopefully. I mean, kind of don't have a choice. I'm not cutting more wood. Kind of is what it is. We're just gonna build the other one and figure it out. Like, there's gonna be a blister right here from pushing. I don't know if it was just like the old wood, the bad drill, I don't know what, but jeez. We have these 2 frames, are not half bad. Then we're supposed to put these in like this. We cut the boards so that they will fit after we screwed up the design. And then these boards are gonna attach like this. Then another board down here. Now we just screw these boards in. I did find it was way more useful to do little pilot holes with this hardwood and my crappy drill, so we're gonna do that and hope it works out better. That went in way better. All right, that's how you do it now. Okay, we're gonna flip it up and do the same thing on the other side. I just realized I screwed through the other side of these boards. We gotta swap these out for different screws. When I said crappy, did you think it was literally gonna be this crappy? It at least fits our screen, so what more can you ask for? All things considered, it's pretty sturdy enough. It's definitely janky, whatever. It's gonna be good enough. We're back with more screws, which means we get to undo a lot of this and re-screw it all. I will tell you what though, these screws are going in way easier than the other ones. Okay, this side is all done and finished. I am gonna drill a couple screws into these cross beams vertically to add a bit more structural stability. Pilot holes are definitely the way to go on this though. After screwing everything in, I just realized this side is angled outward and crooked. So we have to, once again, unscrew it. But you know what? I'm not gonna show you any of that because you've already seen so much of us screwing and unscrewing and screwing up. So let's just cut to when we're all done. And we're done. This thing is pretty sturdy overall. It's a little lopsided because of one of the warped boards, but it is what it is. I think we're gonna go the wobbly side on the bottom so that this is top for one reason. The top is also going to act as an exposure unit. So we're gonna put that on top with our screen on top like this. I don't know, we gotta figure out the exact logistics. We're gonna mount our light under here and then we'll have a DIY exposure unit. The next step is going to cut our little 1x4 guides to hold the screens, which those need to be roughly, we're gonna go 20 inches, so it's a nice even number. This is all we could make with these scrap 1x4s that we had, but we're gonna see how much we can get done with this. So we are gonna try and be a little bit more precise with these boards and measure them out because we want them to be level across the board. If they are going to be holding emulsion, it needs to have an even flat surface. Now, get this leveled out. All right, other side is nailed in. Now it's time for the test here. Okay, I think that actually might be perfect. Let's see how level the screen is. Oh my gosh, it's like perfectly level. Guys, I think we did it. Sweet, well, we're just gonna keep plugging away, see how many slots we can get done. Let's see if this works. Kitty, get out of here. Sweet. I probably could have spaced these a little closer together, but honestly, I don't think we're gonna have too many screens at one point. We have 5 total. We can fit probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. So, I mean, that's 10 screens. I feel like that's pretty good. We'll just need to get some more 1x4 boards and cut those to fill out the rest of this. The goal was to get it kind of light sealed so I can throw everything in there and can dry with the emulsion on there. But I'm thinking I don't want to mess with that. So tentatively moving forward, it's just going to be open sides like this. So then we're going to try and route this roughly. So we will need to have another something here to mount this on. Man, I really shot myself in the foot here. I don't have room with this board in the way. Okay, we're going to take this board here, attach the boards we need, and then reattach this board all in one. Yeah, so we'll assemble like this, reattach, and hope everything lines up. Okay, so that at least slots in very nice. Okay, the moment of truth. Oh, think we're gonna be all right here. Our exposure light is gonna slot in perfectly just like that. So the next step is to enclose this exposure area so that there's no leakage of light and it can kind of reflect up into here. So we're gonna cut some plywood to face along these edges. Got our plywood and some tracks, and we're gonna do our best to cut it straight. Honestly, I mean, that's straight enough. Not bad for a first time ever using a track saw. So this should, oh, perfect. Perfect, and then this will go on the sides, like this. Then another board on this side. And slowly by slowly, we're closing this in. Cool, so let's plug this in and you'll see how it looks. Okay, so obviously there'll be a screen on top of here, but we've got a little exposure unit. Then we'll throw our screen on top with our stencil and our glass panel. This is gonna actually, hopefully we'll have to test it out, but I think this should work out pretty well. There's a couple gaps for sure. I mean, it's not fully light sealed, but it doesn't need to be. We're gonna put reflective tape on the inside of this, and then it's just gonna reflect, add some more ambient light, spread it out a little bit. And then finally, our screens go in like that. And all of this, considering this is literally all scrap wood, even the plywood, like that's pretty crazy. And I'm glad we did this because this was a good first step to begin construction, considering this is like the most complex thing I have constructed yet. Makes me a little more confident when we start building out our workspace. We are going to start building out our use-based workstation that's going to be in this corner. And the first step of doing that is framing out walls. So we're going to have a wall here and a wall here and make a little corner. We bought all our wood and it's ready to cut, so let's get started. Finally invested in some sawhorses, so I don't have to do a makeshift cutting station and kill my back every time I cut plywood or 2x4s or whatever. Did I just break it? I totally just broke it. Gosh dang it. Well, it'll be fine. So our first cut's gonna be pretty straightforward. Really, all these cuts are gonna be kind of straightforward. So we're gonna start with a little partition wall, and that wall is going to be pretty much perfectly 6 feet tall and 4 feet wide, which means our 2x4s, these are all 8 feet in length. This one's a little more actually. We are going to cut it down exactly in the middle into 2 4-foot sections for our top and base plate. Oh, and we bought a speed square too. Look at that. We're officially official now. But while we're here, we'll mark out the second board, and these will need to be the studs essentially, which will need to be 6 feet tall in total, but to account for the top and bottom plates, we need to subtract 2 inches each, and we'll mark it at 68 inches. And we'll need 3 of these studs total, 2 on the sides, 1 in the middle, so we'll need to cut 2 more boards like this. I am going to trim this end right here just so we get perfectly to 4 foot sections. So we're going to give a little more stability here. and see if this speed square gets us perfectly straight. Cool. But there's our two 4-foot studs. And then we'll get started on our vertical stud here, which is going to be 6 feet. Cool, we're cooking here. And just like that, our boards are cut. Pretty evenly too, I might add. This wall is gonna extend out like this. It's gonna help kind of block off the studio a little bit more and be another spot to take product photos. So it's a little dual purpose. We're gonna start building this one first before we do the 10-foot long wall, just so we get a little bit of practice in. All right, so let's lay out our wall here roughly. Top board, stud, stud, stud. I'm just gonna line this up and send it. Not so bad too far. The moment of truth. Oh my gosh. First try, we did it. Is that like a new union first? That's crazy. So this wall is gonna go here. We're gonna screw it into this wall and attach it. I'm actually gonna inset this just a smidge so that when we put the plywood facing on top, it's flush with this wall. I don't know how great we're gonna do, but we're gonna try our best here. We'll see when we put the plywood on it, but we're gonna lock that in for now. All right, that's pretty good. I was hoping to not have to drill down into the concrete, but I think we're gonna have to, unfortunately. We'll figure that out later, but for now, let's cut the rest of the wood. So these are 10-foot boards. They're gonna be for our longest wall, and we're gonna cut them down just a little bit to 117.5. I can't tell you how nice it is having these sawhorses though. Cool, so this, our top and bottom place, we're just gonna cut some studs real fast. The rest of our cuts are going to be cutting down these 8-foot boards to exactly 7 feet for our studs. So we're just gonna get these churned out. Since these are not structural walls, we're just doing 24-inch stud spacing, since 24-inch stud spacing is a lot more cost effective. And since it's not really gonna be holding or supporting anything, we can get away with it. That being said, laying these out, it does not feel right. But we're just gonna go with it and we're gonna trust it. All right, I'm gonna get the outside box screwed in, and then we'll space out our studs in the middle. Then we just need to mark out 24 inches on center. Okay, so we completely need more boards than this. So I don't know if we're gonna have enough boards for our other wall. But that makes me more sense because just 2 of these boards was not nearly close enough to being structurally sound. Boards here. So this is how it's supposed to be. That makes way more sense. So far, all of our cuts have been perfect. Everything's been lining up. Color me shocked. This is the moment of truth now. The moment of truth. We designed this to fit right up to the joists. Looks like we are a couple inches short. I'm realizing now I did my math wrong. So for some dumb reason, I was assuming since there was going to be 2 2x4s, I subtracted 4 inches total from these studs, not thinking for some dumb reason that obviously 2x4s are 1 inch thick. But I think I know how I'm going to fix this. Everything else about it looks great. We do need to drill out a little bit of here for this conduit so it can lay flush against the wall. Other than that, not too shabby. So the idea is pretty simple. We're just going to throw a couple of the scrap 2x4s there as shims. That should fill that gap perfectly, but we're going to do a test one before we get too far. All right, so let's just run a test with that one. extra 2x4. Oh yeah. Once we rubber mallet that in, that's gonna be perfect. Sweet. So that's what we're doing moving forward. Off to a good start. I put this side in, that side pops out. Well, that 2x4 is in. We just need to get this side in. All right, we're gonna try some. It needs like less than 1/8 of an inch. I'm just gonna jigsaw it out real fast. Okay, that's ink. We're gonna see if it works. Nope, I still don't think that's gonna work. We thought it through last night. Before we put up this wall, I want to do a couple things. We are going to coat this bottom board in polyurethane. We're going to do this so it has a little bit of a waterproofing barrier. Since this is going to be in contact with the ground, we're just going to be a little overly cautious and put a coat of waterproofing polyurethane on it just so it's a little more durable and resistant to potential water issues. So let's give this a quick coat, polyurethane, and let it dry. On a side note, polyurethane is freaking expensive. It did work out a little bit though, because we are going to need this for the entirety of our plywood work surfaces, so it'll work out. We've got it all right now, so you don't have to worry about it, but man, it's expensive stuff. Cool, we'll seal that up and save it for later. Okay, we tried a couple different things, 1x4, 1x2, nothing worked. So we're just gonna go back to Old Faithful and hope that we basically just took the circular saw, did some relief cuts, and cut out the middle. And I do have to say, it fits almost perfectly on a joist. As long as our wall is where it needs to be, we're gonna be in good shape. Oh my gosh. I think once we screw that in, that's gonna be perfect. So now that that works, let's get it screwed in. And then we'll put the wall up and screw into this from the wall. We do need to cut a couple more of these boards though. Luckily, trying to jam these in kind of made a mark, so we can kind of see exactly how much we need without measuring. So like that's how wide it needs to be. We'll just make a couple cuts to try and get this cleared out, really is all it is. Cool, so that should be like enough cuts to just kind of break these pieces off, like that. Ooh, we got a whole one right there, like perfect. All right, then this one's just easy. All right, the moment of truth. This is the moment of truth now. The moment of truth. Yes, think we did it. Just line everything up, screw it in, and we're all set, I think. So now, we will just screw these in. Put a couple more screws in, but that feels pretty dang secure. I was going to try and avoid having to nail it down into the floor, but we don't have the stuff for that, so we'll have to do that in another video. Either way, our first wall is done, on to the second wall. So our second wall over is going to go this way. It's going to be a little more tricky because we do want to avoid blocking out these windows, because why would we cover them up? So we did have to cut a few extra boards for the top plate to make that all fit in and work how it should. So we'll see how good our measurements were. But let's start laying this out. So it does look like this board is just going to be like maybe an inch too long, which is not a huge deal. We'll just give this a bit of a trim. All right, that board's good now. And then since we only have 2 studs left over, we're going to put them on each side of the window well so everything fits nicely. So it won't be evenly spaced, but it'll fit the window well and reduce the use of lumber. Before we throw up this wall though, we are, in addition to the polyurethane, we're going to put down this sill plate. I think that's what it's called. It's another moisture barrier, just, you know, one more step to avoid moisture in here, which it's a basement in Michigan, you know. Roll this out and stuff it under. All right, it's the moment of truth.
The moment of truth.
The moment of truth.
The moment of truth.
What is kind of running into the way, as I feared. I mean, our window's cut in pretty well, though, do you have to say?
So, unfortunately, on this joist, there's some metal sheathing, which means we can't really attach this wall to the joist. So, we're definitely going to have to drill these into the floor, which is not the end of the world. It's probably a good idea in the long run anyways. But let's attach it to the other wall in the corner here first. Now, before I boast about anything too much, let's see how level these are. Okay, we're in the lines. We're good. This way. This stud's good. That stud's perfect. I'm shocked, guys. We did good. For, like, never constructing walls before, not bad. It has been another day, and our walls are still standing, so that is a good thing. We've got a couple of small, tiny detail things to finish up with this wall, but we're going to do that next week. So, we'll see you then. Oh, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. We needed to drill out more cutouts for this conduit for our power. So we had to take our walls down. But since they're down, we're going to take the opportunity to also caulk adhesive. But while they're down, we're going to take the opportunity to caulk the bottoms so there's some more stability. We're just going to put it under the sill plate and then another layer above the sill plate. But now things won't move around when they're trying to assemble them, so that's kind of nice. Then we'll just throw another layer on top, and then once that all squeezes together, there'll be some adhesive. So after some deliberation, before we do anything else to the walls, we did decide to do some vapor barrier. Kind of like we did to the bottom plate, we're going to do it to the outside upper walls yet. We bought 6mm plastic sheathing, and we're going to throw that up behind the walls. We should be able to slot it in. That's the goal. So we're just gonna grind that out real fast. The vapor barrier is finished. It was a little annoying to install, not gonna lie. Probably would have been easier if I was able to do it before I put the walls up, but nevertheless it's done. It's a little patchy. It's a little, but you know what? It's gonna work. It's gonna be great. And I don't have to do it again. So the next step is we're going to bullet nail with a Ramset tool. These, I feel like I shouldn't point that at me. We're gonna nail our studs into the floor. Make sure they don't move, they don't go anywhere. Make sure they're super secure. I've never used one of these. They're a little scary, not gonna lie, but we're gonna try it. I've got my earplugs in. It works. How these work is it essentially has a straight up 22 cartridge. It's essentially a bullet, like legitimately, like that's literally a bullet. Pretty much. You put that in here. Put the charge, so you see the nail in this. Load it in. Compress. And then should just go like that. That did not get the nail. The nail did not go through. Maybe you really just gotta. Got it. Missed the washer though. Oh yeah, that I smell gunpowder. Whoa. Sparks flew. There we go. Okay, that looks way better. Oh, this wall is not going anywhere, which actually is not a good thing because it's not straight. Gosh dang it. I gotta try and remove this. Okay, that actually came out pretty good. Okay, but you can see how much this wall's moving. I forgot to push it in, so it's flush against this cinder block wall. So we got to figure out a way to keep this pushed against the wall. I don't know if I'm going to try and shit this wall. Maybe a little bit, but then it's not level. And I did a lot of work to try and get this wall to be level. I mean, it's not level. I don't know if you can see that, but it's not like level. But I feel like I want it flush against the wall. Decisions. Okay, we're gonna try and we're gonna push it flush to the wall. Don't do what I do, okay? Don't do this at home. I would not suggest this, but this is the only way I know how to do this. It's a little scary, but got it. You know, that's why you wear shoes, gloves, hearing protection. Honestly, AirPods are working great right now. All right, now that the wall is kind of guided in place, these ones should be easy. We should just be able to churn these out. Frickin' hell. There you go. Oh, dude, this wall, it's not budging. Gonna kind of get the edges and then work my way back towards the middle for no apparent reason. But that's just what we're gonna do. That worked. First try. I think we're just gonna do a screw for each one of these gaps. I think it's gonna be overkill if we do more than that. I mean, this wall's not budging. Honestly, one per gap is gonna be overkill, so we're just gonna roll with that. Found it works best if you do a couple soft taps. Just kind of get the nail kind of set and then whack it. All right, then onto this wall. We're gonna work this way, trying to make sure the wall is, you know, flush against the cinder block. I'm confident, you know, it should go pretty good. Honestly, this wall isn't budging out anyway, so I don't think we're gonna have to worry about this like the other one. Walls are set in the concrete. These things, they're not moving anywhere. We got to figure this issue out since we can't screw into the joists. That's another issue. That might be solved once we put plywood on there. We'll see. But for now, our walls are secured, and I think they're done and ready for plywood. And then we added a vapor barrier here because we're actually going to extend this out a little bit, and we're going to put pegboard right here. So we're going to attach these kind of base plates right here, and then throw our pegboard on top of it I think at a later date, because I don't want to cut it right now. I'm just going to be honest. But I think we got it. The real key will be to not split the wood. Oh, nailed it. Or screwed it, I guess. I can't say that. Then our second board is going to go here. There's a little bit of gap right here in the wall, which is like, I can't line it up like I need to, you know? So we're just gonna make it work. So you remember how we said we're probably gonna have to nail these into the floor? We decided against that just because it's not load bearing and it's kind of complicated to get something attached to concrete floors. We're just going to put some all-purpose adhesive down, and that's going to stop it from shifting around, stuff like that. That's really all we need to do with this. We're going to need to clean this up a little bit. This is not going to be enough. How is this taking up paint? There's red paint coming up. This red paint they used must have just sucked. To finish off our screen printing rack, and that is going to involve painting it. Since we used scrap wood from our torn down wall, it's a little hodgepodgey, a little mixed-matched plywood and all that. So we're just gonna paint it all black, make it a little cleaner, make it a little nicer. So let's get started. Now we do have a paint sprayer. Haven't opened it yet. It was a Christmas gift. We're gonna open it up and try it out today. It says it's for stain. I don't know how true that is. We're gonna put paint in it and see if it's okay. All right, let's see how to work this thing here. That is a very short cable, but it's relatively heavy duty, all things considering. Where's the nozzle go? Wait, how does this work? Like this. Aha, I see. Aha, okay. That's semi-intuitive. I should probably read the directions, but I'm not going to bore you with that, so see you in a second. This paint we bought does not need to be thinned, which is nice because I didn't want to deal with that. Now the real key now is a nice pour out of this. Okay, we're just going to fill it up halfway, see where we get. That was a decent pour, actually. All right, we're just going to go for it. See, turn it on. Okay, that's not bad. I like a paint sprayer. Cool. We used every single ounce of that quart of paint. We're mostly done for the most part. It's going to be a little splotchy. Probably needed a second coat. Am I going to bother? No, I don't want to buy more paint. But this will be good enough. It already looks way better than it did. I'm going to go clean this before it permanently ruins the sprayer. And while this dries, we're going to do some other stuff. It's all dry and back inside, and this already looks way cleaner. So now we're going to coat the inside of this for our exposure unit with reflective tape. This is just going to help kind of add a bit more light, soften it, even it out. So we're just going to coat this whole entire interior right here with this reflective tape. And hope we have enough. And also hope it sticks. Actually think instead of the bottom, since that's going to be covered up, I'm going to focus on the sides here. That way it kind of bounces and reflects up, you know? It is definitely fitting our mantra of scrappy, not crappy. Does it look the prettiest? No. Will it work? Well, I don't know yet. We're gonna see soon enough. Unfortunately, we ran out of tape. So we're just gonna try this out and see what it does. It might not even help out anything in the first place. So let's get this threaded in. We're gonna try and cable manage this now too once it's all painted and all that. Slot it in. That's so satisfying. It reflects enough, I think. Throw our glass on. That doesn't really fit great. Might have to find a solution for that. In theory, you know, you place your design. That might be backwards, actually. Place your design like that. It's all press and flush. And you expose. I do think that the tape actually did kind of spread out the light a little bit, so that works. We're going to see when we test this with, you know, real emulsion and real stencils, things like that. But we'll call that good for now. And then we're going to route this cable a little bit better. Probably cable manage this a little bit. Maybe like that. We're going to need an extension cord either way. So let's just do this. Sometimes it's easier to just put the cable clips on first and then stick them where you want. I'm going to leave this dangling here for a little bit because I actually want like a switch probably right here in the corner. I don't know exactly where, so we might need to route this up anyways. I got to figure out exactly what to get that will do kind of like a switch. It should be pretty straightforward and cheap, but we'll call that good for now. I'm going to attempt to cut our logo out of plywood. We're going to jigsaw it out. It's got a printed template here. I'm not looking for this to be like 100% exact. You know, it can be a little imperfect, and it probably will be. but we're gonna do our best. This is gonna go up on our plywood wall on the back. It's gonna be backlit. It's gonna look sweet, hopefully. This is a vintage saw, so I'm not overly confident it's gonna work, but you know what? We're just gonna try it. I mean, it's working. It's just a little slow. And I'm actually gonna adjust how this is clamped a little bit, just so we don't hit my 2x4. Yeah, I knew that would happen. But hey, you know, it's cut. Okay, we're back. Now it should be so we can cut through this and not hit this 2x4. It's actually, I'm kind of shocked how well it's going. I feel like it got a little bit of a groove down a little bit. So that's kind of nice. That actually turned out pretty good. And we have a U. And then together it goes New Union, roughly. So then we'll mount this on the wall. We're actually going to paint it a brand color first so it sticks out from the plywood. So let's do that real fast. Actually, I think we need to clean this up a little bit. I'm actually going to give these a quick little sand. I think I want to smooth out some of, I mean, you can kind of see like these edges, some of our cut marks. I think I'm going to bevel these edges just a little bit too, just to give it a little bit of an interesting look. Other than that, we'll just give it a quick, you know, surface coat sand and call it good. But you can kind of see, just got a little bit of a rounded edge to it. Just a little bit of a bevel. Nothing too crazy, but I think it looks kind of sweet. This piece is done. Just kidding. I'm like beyond excited how this turned out. This is gonna look so sweet. A minor paint touch-up that needs to happen, but I mean, I'm like you can see kind of, it's got a little bit of a bevel to it. Again, some paint touch-ups, but I mean, just imagine this up on a wall. It's gonna look sweet.